Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. At GRESB, we often talk about scores, but let's park that notion for a second. While scores are often the headline, the real story is the actions that you, as organizations, take that drive the engine of change at scale.
And scale matters. With thousands of participants and trillions of dollars in assets under management reporting through GRESB, your collective efforts are literally shaping the market.
So today, we want to take a moment to honor you, our members, by highlighting three big advancements that reflect the progress you have made over the past decades. First, where it all begins, transparency. Why does transparency matter? Well, without transparent and credible information, it is simply impossible to measure progress, let alone create long term impact. From our very inception, GRES's core mission has been to give you and your investors a structured, standardized framework to report and compare sustainability performance.
And the results speak for themselves. 10 years ago, the total real estate value you as members disclosed to investors through GRES was around 2 trillion euros. Since then, you've more than tripled that value. Meanwhile, the coverage of underlying performance data has also surged, increasing from around 45% back then to over 75% this year. That's an important step forward in both transparency and information accessibility. But even data coverage is only the next step. The quality of your reporting has improved dramatically as well. A decade ago, only about 1 in 10 participants underwent third party assurance to their sustainability data. Today, more than half of you do it consistently. That's a huge step forward in data quality and reliability, which in turn translates into greater trust in performance assessment by investors.
Impressive stats. Thanks for sharing that, Eric. Second, goals. Why does setting ambition goals matter? Well, because it is this very ambition that drives action. Setting bold targets forces us to prioritize, to plan capital expenditures, and oftentimes to even explore new technologies needed to achieve those goals. In turn, it helps spread best practices across the industry and benefit the wider community. On the GRESS side, we have always encouraged long term performance targets. And here again, your progress over the last decade has been absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of movement here. At that time, less than half of our members set any sort of targets, whereas now, doing so has simply become the norm, with 86% of you with clear goals in place. What's more, a majority of these targets align with specific net zero frameworks to ensure alignment with global climate ambitions.
That is indeed quite an achievement. And last but certainly not least, impact. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about measurement, it's about results, right? Without tangible impact, the transition to low carbon economy will simply remain out of reach.
And that's why GRESB has long focused on two major levers of impact: energy efficiency and renewable energy procurement. And on both of these issues, we've seen clear results. Over the past decade, your portfolios have improved their energy efficiency by around 13%. And this is also consistent with what we've seen from recent findings from the IEA. Alongside that, renewable energy uptake continues to grow, leading to not only increased emissions reductions, but also to real operational savings.
So, what does that all tell us? Well, it reminds us that GRESB is more than a benchmark and certainly more than just a score. It is a catalyst for real positive change across the industry. As GRESB members, you should be proud of the impact you have achieved. On our side, we are certainly proud to celebrate those achievements with you today.
It's definitely something to celebrate. The scores are great, but beyond that score, there's a whole ecosystem. There's a standard, there's incentives, and above all, there's that global GRES community that can help turn transparency into actions and ultimately into real world outcomes at a global scale. So, thinking ahead now, we commit to continuously refining our standards to drive even greater accountability and impact in order to maintain alignment between our requirements and investors' ever increasing expectations.
Thank you for being part of that journey with us.
Hello, everyone. After Eric and Charles, I would like to share with you some insights on energy efficiency from the benchmark this year. When we talk about energy efficiency in real estate today, we are no longer talking about optional enhancements that might improve brand image or trim down operational costs. We are speaking about fundamentals that drive asset pricing across investment strategies. And the research is there to back this up. According to Knight Frank, 63% of investors recognize that sustainability factors drive enhanced returns. At the same time, assets that fail to keep up are at risk of repricing due to the high capital expenditure required to bring them up to par. Beyond reflecting asset sustainability and resilience in pricing, what we also see is that this shift in perception also reshapes how real estate managers access capital. CBRE finds that lending institutions not only reward strong sustainability performance with more favorable financing terms, but 71% of them also refuse to lend against assets that do not meet sustainability criteria or don't have a plan to improve it. Why is that the case? Because energy efficient assets consistently deliver more stable cash flows, reduced vacancy, and improved tenant retention. In other words, efficiency is no longer only about compliance or reputation. It is a marker of resilience and competitiveness in the market. And at GRESB, that is exactly the kind of market transformation we aim to measure and accelerate. This year, energy efficiency scoring was introduced in the GRESB standard to recognize assets and portfolios that are already meeting energy efficiency criteria. Just as importantly, we recognize those that are able to demonstrate measurable improvement year over year. Because while some assets are already efficient, others are on a transition pathway, and it's the combination of both that drives large-scale, real-world impact. The insights from the first year of energy efficiency scoring show that 22% of assets in the benchmark already meet recognized efficiency standards like ASHRAE. This shows that efficiency is not a distant aspiration. It is a reality embedded in 80% of reported portfolios around the world. The share of energy efficient assets is highest in Europe, where more than a third of assets meet those criteria. At the same time, progress extends beyond those that are already best in class. An additional 19% of assets demonstrate measurable reductions in energy performance. The share of assets in this path to reduction is highest in Asia at 29%. These figures are not just numbers on paper. They represent thousands of assets with reduced energy bills, lower exposure to carbon pricing, and a smaller environmental footprint. As we continue to track, score, and benchmark performance, the importance of data quality cannot be overstated. For sustainability to be accurately reflected in asset valuations, we need high-quality information about the assets themselves. The age of a building, its floor area, the systems in place, and its occupancy, they all matter. These are important predictive variables that help us not only measure past performance, but also predict future outcomes. With this foundation, efficiency insights can be properly understood and leveraged and ensure that performance improvements are not only measurable, but also traceable over time. The message is clear. The industry is busy making real estate assets more efficient. Investors are increasingly aligning with sustainability because it enhances value and mitigates risks. And asset owners and managers are demonstrating that energy efficiency can be achieved at scale, whether by reaching best-in-class standards today or by committing to steady, verifiable progress over time. And GRESB's role in this shared mission remains the same: to make performance and progress measurable, comparable, and transparent. Now I'll hand it over to Kanish.
Thank you, Christina. By now, we have brought into conversation the different factors driving change in the real assets industry. So, to round off, let's put things into the investor's perspective. A theme which continues to gather momentum is that investors are looking beyond scores and laying clear emphasis on understanding asset level data. Scores remain important as a signal of risk management and resilience, but increasingly, investors want to understand the impact on the real economy and assess real world outcomes through understanding how asset level performance is driving progress on sustainability. And one of the biggest areas of focus here is energy and greenhouse gas metrics. We are seeing this with almost two-thirds of GRESB's real estate investor members utilizing the carbon footprint dashboard to understand their underlying investments, energy consumption, and greenhouse gas emissions, all aggregated from asset level data reported to GRESB. For investors, transparency and comparability remain top priorities. Whether direct or indirect investments, investors are calling for higher data quality and broader coverage. benchmarks also continue to play a central role helping contextualize performance against peers. And as the benchmark has grown in size and quality, it now provides not only peer comparisons, but also reliable estimations. This is helping investors close data gaps where reporting is incomplete. But it's not just about today's picture. Investors also want to track progress over time. They want to see clear year-on-year improvements, not just snapshots, and understand the drivers behind changes in performance. For example, at the fund level, performance changes in greenhouse gas emissions can have different reasons. The Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change, or IIGCC, as part of its net zero investment framework, recommends investors to undertake attribution analysis to understand which factors are driving the changes in portfolio emissions. Therefore, differentiating between drivers like transactions, actual changes in consumption, renewable energy procurement, or grid decarbonization is becoming a key demand. Thus, investors are asking for more asset level transparency because this is where physical and transition risks emerge and ultimately where performance improvement occurs. In summary, investors are watching both the fund level trajectory and the asset level story. They want to know not just where their portfolio stands today, but how it is improving and what is truly driving change. And at GRESB, we remain committed to providing these insights for investors.